Hello and welcome to round 2 of the IMBA Cup. This is the losers bracket. We got here FunkOff playing his UEF. He did lose against Voodoo in round 1. It's a really tough battle, but he was an extremely good player. Now we're seeing here absolutely no error early on from FunkOff. Multiple land factories, some PGens. Very similar from Armmagedon, just one land factory, so it still has an option to go air. A very early Celine coming out for Armmagedon for reconnaissance. Now we are seeing, it looks like the first NG is going to pick up some mass for Armmagedon, and actually 4 PGens without the Hydra. Very strange. Usually people take the Hydra a little earlier, and you can see the first 2 NGs for FunkOff going to the Hydra. Quite a bit of power that you get for a pretty cheap mass, but a little later on, so usually a good option. But of course it is a balance between using up all your resources and getting units faster than getting units cheaper. So that is the trade-off. We're seeing a lot of the early units for FunkOff, absolutely no rating whatsoever. Now we're finally seeing anti-air from FunkOff here at coming up on minute 2. Very strange, absolutely no air being produced by Armmagedon, so being very cautious against Arma's air. You can see an NG here is going to expand to the top expansion for FunkOff. We do see 3 Celines surrounding FunkOff's base. This is great in terms of intel. This unit right here, if it doesn't move and stays at hold fire, will turn stealthy and just stand there providing you reconnaissance. It does have a little bit of radar action on it, and we're seeing this flag from FunkOff being used as recon behind his base. And it appears that the plan for Armmagedon is going to be a massive T1 spam, which is a pattern on this map. It's very flat, very small, and you really want to put a lot of pressure on your opponent early on. The best way to do that is with T1 spam. Of course, usually we do see that T1 bomber. Absolutely no bombing yet here at minute 3 from either Armmagedon or FunkOff. You can see these Celines, these engines sitting right next to him getting this mass. Have no idea that our Armmagedon has a unit right there. And we do see this T1 spam now beginning from FunkOff as well, working on the 5th land factor. We already see, this is 3 different NGs, groups of NGs making land factory. We already see 5 and working on the 6th, 7th, and 8th land factories. And we do see the ACU for Armmagedon now moving down. He has taken over almost 3 expansions. FunkOff took over 1 expansion. We're looking to get this 3rd. And we do see both ACUs very close to each other. So it looks like we're going to see a battle with ACUs and units here on the bottom left. And on top we see FunkOff pushing. A small team of tanks. Doesn't look like they brought Raider, so these units here from Armmagedon, that they do have this Celine here, can spot these and shoot them. FunkOff pushes, but it looks like he is now no longer going to have the number. So that first exchange definitely went Armmagedon's way. It's a pretty nice size force here from Armmagedon moving in. If it runs into FunkOff, it'll be nice veterancy potential for FunkOff. And we do see both players have very similar ecos at this point. 3 expansion bases each, and we do see this force from Armmagedon now retreating. It's mostly tanks, a few arty mixed in. And based on the number of land factories, Armmagedon's way ahead, so he's going to be it does look like it is going to be the superior T1 span from Armmagedon. We do see some nice raiding, at least attempts from FunkOff, and also raiding from Armmagedon is going to take out FunkOff's expansion. So that's such a good play here to not leave any units to protect the expansion. Now Armmagedon is moving into FunkOff's position. Actually nice PD here from FunkOff, getting Armmagedon to retreat. And expansion to the 4th for FunkOff. Very undefended position here, but it looks like Armmagedon is allowing FunkOff to take those spots, and a nice push from FunkOff on top. But this is going to be superior numbers for Armmagedon. He's going to win that battle. And a complete loss from these 2 tanks. Many kills on these tanks. Now FunkOff is going to respond. Armmagedon not getting an just starting an upgrade. FunkOff working on upgrade as well. Got an NG assisting. Perhaps the gun would be very good upgrade for either one of these players. Now once again we're seeing this battle where Armmagedon uses his arty to get the first shots against FunkOff. Now FunkOff is chasing. These units are going to regroup with a larger force, and FunkOff is going to have to retreat. So in terms of map control, it seems like a slight advantage for Armmagedon. He is taking over the middle. He does have 3 expansions, and actually so does FunkOff. This is inexcusable to let FunkOff have this, given the superior numbers. We can see 2 big land forces from Armmagedon. He can play really wide. Now finishing up the upgrade, minute 8. Coming up on minute 9, we see an attack up on top from Armmagedon. Pretty even numbers, but of course absolutely no numbers here if Armmagedon chooses to move in with his ACU. Now it looks like he's got the gun upgrade on his ACU. FunkOff has the gun as well. I have simultaneous fighting here, and it looks like Armmagedon has an advantage in both fronts. And now it's going to be a full retreat for FunkOff. FunkOff retreating to his other force. He's going to try to regroup. It appears that FunkOff has 2 different upgrades. He's got 18 kills, but he's got T2 engineering as well as the gun, which give him a little more health and a little more regeneration. We do see T2 ground coming out for FunkOff. Some pillars, but of course these are very vulnerable against the ACU. And this is what happens when you run into a superior spam. You just basically get run over. Very simple gameplay here from Armmagedon. Just build more units and rush in. You can see FunkOff try to go Tech 2 and has paid the price. Now we see some PD coming out for FunkOff to try to lower the amount of units in his base. You can see multiple T1 PDs all over the place. FunkOff at 54 kills, Armmagedon at 30. The FunkOff still has a very strong ACU, but he has basically lost his entire production of units. His factory is getting ran over. But now FunkOff running into Armmagedon's ACU. 64 kills for FunkOff, Armmagedon retreating. The health for FunkOff is actually 14,000, so UEF ACU extremely strong. The Seraphim is at 6,000. It's quite a bit weaker, and you can see now FunkOff completely surrounded by Armmagedon's units attacking Armmagedon's ACU. And this is going to be very close, and looks like, yes, Armmagedon goes under 2,000 health, and this is going to be a draw. So a save from FunkOff at the very end, even though he completely dominated that game. So we're going to have a second game in this round 2. Hello and welcome to the second game of round 2 between FunkOff, and this time he is playing Seraphim. Going land this time once again. Going up against Armmagedon is Seraphim once again, but he is going first air, so a complete change of strategy for Armmagedon in this one. Let's see how FunkOff deals with this early bomber, perhaps. Yes, a very early bomber from Armmagedon. So last game, Arma basically won, except that he was a little too aggressive with the ACU, allowing FunkOff to snatch the draw at the very end. So that's why we have this replay. It'll be a very nice comeback from FunkOff if he can win this game. Now here comes the first bomber from Armmagedon. He's got some pretty good targets here. Takes out an NG, that's 50 mass. Absolutely no rating at this point from FunkOff. And now we're gonna see the second kill for this bomber. We should see a flak come out for FunkOff at any moment now. And second and third land for Armmagedon. And now this bomber getting hit by flak after getting 3 kills. So 3 NGs lost for FunkOff. That is 150 mass. And a lot of very valuable time this early on. Plus it forced FunkOff to make flak units that cannot shoot against ground. So now you can see Armmagedon has taken this bomber home. No reason to lose it. Use it as radar and look for expanding NGs. We see a mix of flak and flak and Selines for FunkOff. Very weak units in terms of rating, but now we do see the ACU making more land factories. Once again, the plan after the initial air for Armmagedon is massive spam in terms of land. And finally here, minute 3, FunkOff is going to complete his Hydro. It's a very good early pressure from Arma. This is a very big hole to dig yourself out of if you're FunkOff. See more bombers coming out. Actually this is the original bomber. takes out a Celine that didn't have the time to go stealthy. Now 4 kills for that initial bomber. And now we are seeing Armmagedon's ACU moving out into the middle, getting some of these larger mass chunks. FunkOff moving out as well. Also a pretty big T1 land spam from FunkOff, although he only has 2 NGs working on that compared to Arma here. He's got 3 NGs, but they're working on separate factories. Now we see a 3rd NG working on the factories for FunkOff. He's going to make a pretty big spam as well. Here comes a force into the middle from Armmagedon. You can see this bomber being used as radar, and the ACU making land factories as well. More bombing from Armmagedon. This is 5 kill bomber. Absolutely no air from FunkOff at this point, all ground. But now we see that flak takes out Arma's bomber. Another bomber coming in, takes out a NG working on radar. This radar has not been completed, but will be finished off by a different NG. And now more bombing on the outside here from Armmagedon. No flak here, so Arma choosing the weak spots in terms of air protection and taking out quite a few units are behind FunkOff's base. FunkOff moves into the middle, and it looks like superior numbers for Armmagedon here at minute 6. And it looks like FunkOff already realizing he's way behind, and this will be an eventual win for Armmagedon. So very devastating bombing from Arma in this one. But let's see how this plays out. This will be a great target to take out. A 9 kill bomber here. Drops his last bomb on top of a factory. So in terms of map control, we see 3 full bases for Armmagedon, only 1 for FunkOff, and it looks like he's having a lot of trouble expanding. And now the ACU for FunkOff moves out. No upgrades. He's just going to push. He's got a very inferior force. Armmagedon moves back into the middle. And I gotta say, this map is very peculiar. Actually, the 2 maps drawn for this tourney, the first 2, have been very Tech 1 spam heavy. So the gameplay is very different. And actually, it looks like FunkOff is going to try to get an upgrade right in front of Armmagedon's forces. That's a very dangerous thing to do. He does have an NG helping out. Now the NG is dead halfway through the upgrade. And then ACU that cannot move around, can dodge the arty, very vulnerable. Now FunkOff cancels, is going to begin retreating. It's going to be a fight where we'll see numbers win out for Armmagedon. You can see FunkOff's army just getting ran over, and not much that FunkOff can do. So you can see T1 versus ACU. If you have large enough numbers, not much that FunkOff can do. But really it was the early T1 bombers from Arma that finished this game, and it ends before minute 9. So I gotta say, FunkOff is out of the tourney, and Armmagedon continues on in the losers bracket. And I gotta say, the first 2 players eliminated in this tourney are Tag Pebble and FunkOff, and I was predicting those 2 players in the final. So I guess I don't know much about this game.